per se. So if you're looking for hook, book, look, and took, don't. So the reason what I'm going to talk about today is an experience I had this summer. And for those of you that don't know, I went to Minnesota over the summer and interned at a church up there who needed help. And the church was called Eden Valley, and I live in Springfield, Ohio. So that's right. And from Springfield to Eden Valley was about 15 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a long time. And so anyway, like I found out kind of later in the semester, last one, that I was going to go. People go ask me, hey, you know, it's coming up. How are you feeling? I'm like, I mean, it's going to happen. I don't know. And so like, it didn't really hit me that I was going to be there because I had no idea what it would entail. And so I'm driving there, driving to Minnesota, go through Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, getting to Minnesota. I still don't feel like it just like it hasn't hit me yet. And so I pull up, and the weekend I came, they were having their summer conference on the island. There's an island, and then there's a youth camp the week after. And so I pulled up, and on this island, pulled up on this little grassy hill, couldn't park, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm here. I don't like meeting new people, and this summer was nothing but new people. I knew Jake and Amber was going to be there. That's right. And I knew that Jack and Paige were going to be there in a few days. Other than that, everybody else didn't know from Adam. And it was definitely out of my comfort zone. Alright, so anyway, that weekend happened, and then the following week was this camp, it's a Minnesota State camp for youth kids, or like, what is it, up to 6th grade? Something like that. It's not high school, it's for little kids, and it was a blast. It was a lot of fun. I made a lot of new friends from Nebraska and Minnesota, and during that week, I got to know a particular person who's here today, and that's Sierra. And how we actually started a conversation is actually kind of comical. All right, so I was sitting down at this table, and it was rec time, and there were these little girls there, like this little group of girls, and they were giving nicknames to all the adult guy counselors there. And so I'm just sitting down, I just sat down by them for lunch one day, and they're like, hey, Mississippi. And I'm like, I don't understand that, but okay. They called me Mississippi the rest of the time I was there. Anyway, they came up to me, and they were like, Mississippi, we want to paint your nails. And I'm like, no. And they're like, please, we want to paint your nails. I'm like, no, leave me alone. And so I'm finally like, all right, fine, you can do one nail. Huh. Well, anyway, so I'm letting them do it, and then one turned into two, somehow turned into all five. And anyway, I am kind of paying, you know, they're having fun or whatever. And then suddenly, these two girls, out of nowhere, pour a whole thing of nail polish on my hand. And I'm like, whoa, okay, all right, no more of that. We're done with this. And so I don't even deal with nail polish. How the heck do I get this off? And meanwhile, in a few days, I was going to preach my first sermon at Eden Valley, and I had this giant blue stain on my hand. And so I'm like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. And so I think you were already sitting there. Sarah was already sitting there. She's like, okay, I'll get it off for you. It took over a half hour to get off. It was a mess. But I got to have a really good conversation with Sarah. We got to meet. And I'm like, I like her a lot. She's going to be a good fit at the college. So far, that's true. And, all right, so summer camp, that was fun.
Preaching this city.
And so I went to, that week finished up, so it was the week leading in to my first Sunday. Dun, dun, dun. I already had a sermon prepared, and my first Sunday was going to be Father's Day. I wasn't going to talk about Father's Day. I And I'm like, I talked to the elders beforehand, and I'm like, is it okay if I just do the sermon I already have prepared? They're like, sure, that's cool. So anyway, I met with the elders a few days before that, and they're like, these are some of the things we want you to do. We want you to speak every Sunday, which is what I got to do. I got to speak for 9 Sundays. We want you to lead a Bible study with a group of older ladies every Wednesday morning, which I'm going to tell you more about later. I'm going to, I have to do the bulletins, and some other stuff. Basically, those are my 3 main responsibilities. And I remember last semester, I was at the copier machine at the college, and I'm like, I don't know how to use this. And Bob had to come out and show me how to use it. And after this summer, I know how to use a copier machine now. But I didn't at the beginning of the summer. And so my first Sunday didn't even dawn on me that I had to do bulletins. We didn't have any bulletins for the first Sunday I was there. And meanwhile, and like it didn't even dawn on me. So I'm sitting here, sitting in a brand new building with people I don't know, and they have their own way of doing service. I have no idea what it is. I don't do a service because I've got to do bulletins. So some of the elders went ahead and made one up real quick, and they're like, Jacob Rohrer, he's going to be here for the summer. So I get up, I do my sermon, and it wasn't the best. It was kind of average for me. It wasn't very good by my standards. And I sat back down, and I'm like, this is going to be the way, or if this is how ministry is going to feel for the rest of my life, then I'm on out. I don't want to do this. It was the most uncomfortable feeling I have ever had in my entire life. And later that day, I called Alan, my home pastor, and I told him that, and I'm like, if this is how it feels, I don't want to do this anymore. I'd rather go work in a factory that was better. But I knew it was my first Sunday. Things were bound to get better. And they did. And so every Sunday, I got a little more comfortable. They have a beautiful sanctuary. And they have this giant podium up here on the side. My first Sunday, I was back there. I was off to the side, and I'm like, this doesn't feel natural. I don't like this. So eventually, I kind of felt my way around the sanctuary, and I ended up preaching on the ground most of the time. Kind of like this. So things got better. And so one of my other responsibilities was Wednesday morning Bible study. So, Wednesday morning Bible study, I went to this apartment. It was right by the church, like literally right by it. I could walk there in like 2 seconds. And all I was told is that there's a Wednesday morning Bible study, and the pastor before here used to lead it, and we want you to lead it. I'm like, okay. Now, preaching, I was pretty comfortable with. Wasn't too worried about music, definitely comfortable with. But leading Bible studies, that wasn't as comfortable, actually. I wasn't comfortable at all, because I haven't really done that a whole lot. And so I walk in there, and there are these 5 ladies. Mind you, the youngest one is in her 70s, and the oldest one is 99. Her name is Dinah. She was sharp as a tack. And so I walk in there, and I don't really know what to expect. I don't know who they are. And I sit down at the head of the table, and they all look at me. They're like, all right, lead. I'm like, oh. Okay, I don't think God help me. So they were going through Romans, and Romans 15 and 16. And I haven't studied Romans at all. I don't know anything about Romans off the top of my head. So I'm like, great, Romans, let's do Romans. And so we go through it, 15 and 16, and pick out some things that I'm able to see and kind of expound on that and generate discussion. So it's not super awkward, but there are some awkward moments. Anyway, we got down there, and they're like, wow, that was really good. I'm like, sweet, thanks, I'm glad. And they're like, is there anything that you'd like to study? And I'm like, yeah, like to study the book of Philippians. So from the following Wednesday until I left, we finished the entire book of Philippians, and it was really, really good. And one of the ladies there, her name was Ellen. She was the youngest one. Ellen Munch. And in one of my sermons beforehand, I'm like, I love cookies. I love me some cookies. And I'm like, if you ever have cookies laying around the house and you don't want them anymore, send them over here. And so I come in for Bible study one morning, and she has this giant plate of cookies for me. And I'd never heard of them before. They were called monster cookies. I'm a believer now. They were really, really good. And I took them home that afternoon, and I had them for lunch. It was super good. Really good. So, that's kind of what I did. Preached every Sunday. I had this Wednesday morning Bible studies with these ladies, and it was great to get a perspective because they were telling me stories of a long, long, long time ago. And I was able to ask them questions, and they asked me questions, and by the end, by my last week there, we just finished the book of Philippians, and they were like, we really appreciate you doing this. It was a great help. You're a really good teacher. And I was flattered. I'm like, thank you, because 9 weeks earlier, I was like, how in the world am I going to do this? But God provided a way. So let me tell you about some of the people I stayed with. I stayed with a couple. Their name was John and Sue Lapp. And wow, they are great people. John, if I could describe John, I would say he's a man's man. He knows how to fix anything. He is the caretaker of the camp that I got to go to at the beginning. And he is amazing. He gets up at the rise of dawn, and he works really, really, really hard. He doesn't fix anything. Goes to bed early. He's just solid, great guy. And so, John and Sue, they never had kids themselves. And like halfway through, they're like, "It's kind of nice having you here. It's like you're the first kid that we've ever had." They're like our child. And I'm like, "Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. It was actually really sweet." And but sometimes, because he would get up so early and start working right away. I mean, I wouldn't get up super late, but I would get up at like 8:30, maybe a little later if I stayed up later. So I would get up, like Josiah said, I don't like talking in the morning. And I wake up and go sit in the chair in the living room, and John comes in, he's all sweaty, and he's just dirty from working, and he looks at me, and I'm like, I just got out of bed. It took a little bit of adjusting, but it was good. Had I not had the opportunity, or had someone not reached out to me and asked me to come out to Minnesota, I wouldn't have done it because it wasn't on my radar at all. And I am so thankful that I did. I went from my very first day of being there, going up into the conference room that's on the island, and people are coming up to me saying, "Hey, I'm so-and-so from Eden Valley." I said, "Hey, I'm so-and-so." To when I left that final Sunday, it was a little teary-eyed. And, I mean, I was only there for maybe a little over 2 months, but I really got to know the people, I got to love the people, I got to connect with them, and we were able to build relationships. And it took a little bit of time, but we got there. And so, for you, anybody, if you ever get a chance to go out and do ministry in a different environment, in a different church, in a different setting with people you don't know, do it. Because it got me out of this little bubble out here at ABC in Cornerstone, and I got to meet more of the conference, I got to meet people that I would never have gotten to meet. And it was a blessing. And I learned so much that I can't tell you all today, because we'll be here all. But I want to tell you one of the most important things that I learned. The most important thing that I learned. I met people who had been Christians for 85, 90 years. I met high schoolers who were figuring out what their identity was, what it meant to be a Christian, what it meant to be a follower of Jesus. I met people who had lost everything due to bad life choices and mistakes they made in their lives. I met people from different faiths, from different perspectives of faith. There's this really big Catholic church. I go from the Eden Valley, and I went to my first Catholic Mass there. And you know the one thing that ties everybody together, that ties everything together, the one thing that everybody I met, including myself, have in common. It is that we are all in need of the gospel in Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And it took me until this summer to understand that. And I want to unpack that a little bit. When you're down here at the college, you learn so much information. You learn a ton. And it's amazing, and it's wonderful, and sometimes it's really hard to take in, and you don't really understand it, but after a while, boom, it clicks. It's amazing what you learn down here. But I remember I was 3 semesters in, and I was doing some homework, and I took a break, and I sat in my chair, and I thought, do I know what the gospel is? If someone told me, hey, can you tell me what the gospel is? What is that? Could I tell them? And at the time, I couldn't. It was this huge shock to me, because I'm learning all this stuff, but I haven't come to grips with the basic meaning of the gospel. That's a problem. And so, I want to tell everybody here today, whether you're at the college for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whenever it is your time to leave, if you forget everything that you learned here, you need to remember this one thing. You need to remember you need to know what the gospel is. You need to know what the true gospel is, the gospel of the kingdom of God. You see, I had all this knowledge from ABC, useful knowledge, but when I'm meeting somebody who just got out of jail and their license was revoked for the next 10 years, I don't think they really care to know about the synoptic problem. I don't think they really care that Daniel is written in Hebrew and Aramaic. They don't care about that. It doesn't matter. It's not pertinent. It's not important. The gateway to where we can share all this information we learned with people, the gateway to that is the gospel. If you can get them to believe in the gospel that Jesus taught, if you get them to repent, if you get them to accept the gospel that Jesus taught, and accept Jesus for who he is, then that opens the entire floodgates for what you learn here, and you're able to impart knowledge on them that you've learned. But you have to know what it is first. And for a long time, I didn't know what that was. And it was a journey, and I know now. Can I get a volunteer? I just need someone to pass these out. Okay. You're going to get a little slip of paper, and it has 3 questions on it, and they're yes or no. It's very simple. As I said, I learned a lot of things this summer, but the most important thing was the gospel and knowing how to communicate with people is the most important thing, because if you can't do that, then it doesn't matter really what you know, because they're never going to get to that place where they can understand it and accept it. So as these are being passed around, there's 3 questions. I'll wait for him to pass it around. Like I said earlier, if you ever get a chance to go to a church for a summer, or for winter, or wherever, whenever, take the opportunity. Do it. Step out of your comfort zone, because I learned a whole lot from doing it. All right, there are 3 questions on the first one is, do I know what the gospel of the kingdom is? Yes or no? And I want you to be honest with yourself, because if you're not honest with yourself, then you can't get any better. You can't get better. Do I know what the gospel of the kingdom is? Yes or no? Do I know why I believe it is the gospel? Do you know why you believe what you believe? Because people are going to challenge you on it. People are going to ask questions. We live in a society where truth is relative, and what's good for you is maybe not what's good for me. Do you know why you believe what you believe? Do you know why the gospel is important, is life-changing? And the last one, could I explain the gospel to someone who wanted to know? Somebody came up, Charles, I keep hearing this gospel thing. I don't really know what it is. Can you tell me about it? And I know for the most part, that's an ideal situation. Most people aren't going to come up to us and ask us about the gospel. But if we get that question in our mind, if we get that perspective in mind, and we challenge ourselves and we think about how would I respond to this situation, then when the time comes that we do need to share, we already have it figured out. Now, another thing I learned this summer is that figuring out answers, figuring out problems in the classroom is a whole lot easier than when you're talking to somebody. People are people, and they'll come at you from different directions. But do you know what the gospel of the kingdom is? Do you know why you believe it? Do you know why it is truth? And then the most important thing, can you tell somebody about it? Can you explain it to somebody? So I want you to be honest with yourself. That was probably the most important lesson I learned this summer. And Minnesota was great. It was awesome. I had a lot of fun time. I made some mistakes, but also there was some really funny moments and great time sharing with people. And so I want you to keep this. I don't want you to throw it away. I want you to put it in your Bible. Put it in your Bible somewhere. Maybe you'll forget about it, which is good. And then you'll run across it. Then you'll run across it one day. And you know there's 3 questions in front of you. And it'll remind you, hey, do I know what the gospel is? Do I know what the gospel of the kingdom is? Do I know why I believe it? Can I explain to somebody? Because I tell you what, evangelism, normally in most people, is not a natural gift. Therefore, we don't do it. Therefore, we don't exercise our thinking skills and how to present it. Very rarely have I met someone who just leaps for joy at the thought of going up to strangers and evangelizing to them. Most of the time, that's not going to happen. And so we don't do that. And so we don't share. And so we don't think about why we believe it. We don't think about why it's the truth. And we don't think about how we can explain it to other people. So hopefully this is a nice little reminder for you to get those critical thinking skills going. Those wheels turning. Because everybody, no matter what walk of life they're from, no matter who they are, what their occupation is, boy or girl, ethnicity, everybody is in need of redemption and salvation that can come through the gospel of the kingdom.
you in Jesus Christ. That's it. So I'm gonna. That's all I had to share for today. So thank you. I'm gonna close with a song.